everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I will be ranking and telling you guys my 10 favorite sequels and 2 little honorable mentions at the end of this video. So without further ado, I'm going to start with my number 10, which is Annabelle Creation. Now what I really love about this movie is I really love the approach they took for Annabelle, which is this really tragic death of their daughter being brought back into this doll and this spirit kind of talking like her and taunting the family a little bit. And I also really enjoyed the fact that they gave a reason as to why one of the main characters couldn't just leave or was trapped a little bit, which also was like she couldn't do anything but be tortured because she was in a wheelchair and she was upstairs and she couldn't get down very well. And I felt that gave more tension because you kind of wanted her to get out of it, but there was that that it was really hard for her to get out of that situation. So you felt for her more. And I also have some nostalgia for this movie because my introduction to horror when I was little was My Babysitter Was a Vampire, the movie. And Annabelle was my first horror movie that I watched. And Annabelle Creation was the first ever movie that actually scared me and that I actually really got into. And I watched this with my babysitter when I was 12, the year it came out. And what made this experience even better for me personally was we have cats. And every single time there's a little jump scare or something sinister, one of the cats would knock something over in the background. So I was totally focused on the movie, you hear something in the background, so it startled me a little bit. But I really do enjoy this movie. And out of the whole Conjuring universe, Annabelle Creation is 100% my favorite out of all of it. Now at number 9, I have Dr. Sleep. Now, when I watched this movie a couple of years ago, I thought it was okay and fine. I didn't like it that much, but when I watched it again for the second time about a month ago, I love this movie a lot more. I like that they took The Shining, the original movie, and they incorporated it with film, but didn't make it like a remake of the original. It incorporated The Shining, but while making it its own movie, and it felt really nice and refreshing to see that with how remakes are. Especially with one movie going around right now, but yeah. But I really enjoyed this refreshing movie. At number 8, I have Hell House LLC, The Carmichael Manor. I am the first one to say I am not the biggest fan of found footage. I can probably count on one finger how much found footage movies I actually really love or really like. But Hell House LLC, The Carmichael Manor is something I honestly said I thoroughly enjoyed. Not only do I like how they actually give reasons to why these group of, I guess, vloggers you want to call them, did not leave the house at all, and I really enjoyed that. But I also like that it didn't count on what happened in the original Hell House, which is the second and third one really rely on that heavily. So I like how this one could be its own separate story, but then again connect to it with the clock, for example, all those things in it. It connects to it and the brother working there while making it its own entire story and movie, which is totally refreshing me because I watched all the Hell House movies in direct order from the first, second, third to this last one. And I like this so much better than the second and third one. It was just a really good found footage movie, and I'm not even a found footage fan. And also, one scene really did not scare me, but it did get me a little bit. It was when Margaret was popping out the corner. I don't know why, but that scene got me a little bit. I do not know why. But that being said, I really did like this movie. At number 7, I have Pearl. I'm really enjoying the X trilogy right now. We're getting Maxine in July, which I'm very excited for. But right now my favorite of that trilogy is X, but Pearl is definitely very well made. I enjoyed this movie so much. I enjoyed Pearl and the character of Pearl. I think Mia Goth did an amazing job playing Pearl. I like how you can see the psychological torture of what she's going through and a little background on her, on how she became the way she did in the first one. And you feel bad. I felt bad for her a little bit. You have a little sympathy for her because of how her life is, but this movie not only is shot great, it's entertaining, it's just a great psychological horror movie. I just really enjoyed this one. Now, number 6, I have Bride of Chucky. I am a casual Chucky fan. I've seen all the Chucky movies. And I rank them in one of my old channels. But Bride of Chucky is most definitely my favorite of the Chucky universe. I like the way Chucky looks in this movie. Looks really cool. I love the introduction of Tiffany, and the character of Tiffany is awesome. I just love how they just combined Tiffany and Chucky together in this movie and made this perfect movie to me. I just love Bride of Chucky so much. Number 5, I have Saw 2. Many people will say the original is their favorite, but a lot of people say that it was because of the ending of the original, which is of course iconic, but on a rewatch, it's not as enjoyable because you already know the twist ending. So, and also you get the introduction of Amanda in this one, and I love Amanda again as a character, and whenever I saw her come back in Saw X, I was very excited because I love her character, and I feel like her character kind of understood a little bit more about her in this movie. And you got the iconic bear trap, of course. I mean, iconic. And this is the beginning of Saw, when all the traps were actually escapable and not where you couldn't escape. So that was pretty refreshing. And also the psychological part of it, where all he had to do was listen, but he didn't. Perfect. Now, moving on to 4. Ironically, the 4th installment in Friday the 13th series, Friday the 13th, Final Friday. I enjoy the remake, and I enjoy the first and second one to a degree. I've not seen all of the movies of Friday the 13th, but this is definitely my favorite of all I've seen. I love the character of Tommy as like someone that Jason could go up against. I like the characters in this movie more than I like the characters in the previous ones that I've seen. I also love the, like I said, the introduction of Tommy, of course. I feel like this was just more better and more better shot than the original. So, yeah. And moving on to 3, I have Scream 4. I love this movie. I'm a casual Scream fan. But if you're gonna talk about Scream 4, you have to talk about the reveal, the Scream Killer reveals. Out of all the Ghostface killers in this franchise, Jill is iconic and my favorite. I didn't expect it. I love her as the killer, especially towards the end where people caught on. She really tried. And her reasoning was, I feel like it's more real today's times more than ever, to be completely honest. But I just really like this movie because you don't ever see that coming. And this is also the last movies you get of Gale and Sydney and Dewey before the new cast characters came. And I feel like this would have been a great franchise if they stopped that movie, but 5 and 6, I'm glad they continued on with it. Number 2, Zombieland Double Tap. I do not think it's as good as the original, but I do enjoy it. I found some funny moments in it. I enjoyed the characters. I honestly did. The only character I was like, was the freezer girl, because she was locked in a freezer and that's how she escaped. And I like how this movie never takes itself seriously. It's all comedy. Like, they're doing all of this kind of funny stuff that you just wouldn't do if it happened, but they did not take themselves seriously at all, like living in the White House. But I really did enjoy this movie. I feel like it's not as good as the original, but it's very close to it. The comedy is still there, which is very hard to find like a really good horror comedy, but if you watch Zombieland and Zombieland Double Tap back to back, it is like the perfect films to watch back to back. So that just leaves number 1, Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors. this movie is the definition of a perfect sequel. Not only do you bring back one of the favorite characters of the franchise, Nancy, you bring her back with these kids who have powers to stop Freddy in this mental hospital area surroundings, and I feel like that adds even more ability to it. Like, they're in the mental hospital, so if you say this stuff, no one's really going to believe you because of where you are. And I feel like that was a great idea for the setting, and I really like how they really all defeated Freddy. And this was the perfect balance of funny Freddy and non-funny Freddy. It was a perfect balance. And I watched the sequel for the first time like last year. I've seen all the movies, and I gotta say, this immediately bumped up very close to being my favorite out of the first one. Sometimes I switch because the first one is good, but that ending was... So I kind of switched between this being my favorite and the original being my favorite. Hope you guys like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you want to hear more from me, you can press that subscribe button and comment down below what your favorite horror sequels are.
Editing me here. So the honorable mentions I want to mention this year are Creepshow 2 and Carrie the Rage 2. Both of these films are things, again, I watched back to the originals, and I love them. Now, when I walked into, when I saw Carrie 2, The Rage, I wasn't expecting anything like the original, but I really like how they paid honorage, they honored the original Carrie movie in it, and I love that final scene at the party. It is one of my favorite scenes ever with horror history. In Creepshow 2, I do want to say I really did enjoy some of the skits. The Rat, for example, is one of my favorites out of that movie.